Hi, this is Patsy with a Z. Welcome to Joy on Paper, a program for writers and those who dream of writing, and for everyone who wants to know the story behind the book. And I have some wonderful stories for you today because my guest is Kevin B. Edwards, and I remember when he first contacted me with this lovely little book called Kevin Turns Fear into Feet, and I was so thrilled with that book, and ever since then, I have been one of your biggest fans. And it's so good to see you. It's so good to hear about this new book.
It's good to see you as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been doing nothing but writing.
That's great. Yeah, I noticed that. So we have a new book, and this is your European tour. Kevin's on European tour. So this is so exciting. And just as you remember, you contacted me, and which is was so nice. I got such a thrill out of it when I don't know, the years have gone. Went through the pandemic and everything. Oh
Right.
my goodness, so it's a terrible time. But now we are here and we're going to be talking about this wonderful book. It's just and about your life because you are such an inspiration. And as I have been playing your music ever since you were on my program, I play your music all the time on my radio show. And
Wow.
I play it at least once a month. I'm playing one of the songs, whatever I'm in the mood for. Whenever I have an extra minute or two, I take one of your songs. And especially around holidays when I want people to feel good and really have hope and some joy in
Right.
their heart. And that's what they get from reading your books and from listening to your voice.
Wow. That's amazing. I have done 4 books since the first book. I did Kevin Turns Fear into Feet. And after I finished that book, I was like, okay, what do I want a series? Where do I want to take Kevin next? And then I thought about when my family went to Hawaii the first time back in 2007, I think it was. And I had just released some music. And one of my friends in Tallahassee knew the radio announcer in Honolulu. So he had set up a radio interview for me. So I had already planned that. And so when I got there, I did the interview. Then I went on the ship. We were on a cruise. And they had a star search on the cruise ship. And so I entered the Star Search and won the whole thing. So I was able to sing for everybody on the cruise ship. They gave me a trophy. They gave me, I think, dinner and something else they gave me. And so I said, you know what? Let me tell that whole story of what I did on that trip. So that's what I did with Kevin's Big Win. And then from that, I released another Christmas story. It's called This Is How My Santa Looks.
And
I
here it
was working.
is. Here it is. I love this book.
It talks about the different perspectives of how Santa can look. I was working in the classroom at that particular time in the Marietta City Schools, and overheard 2 students arguing about what Santa's supposed to look like. And so I walked up and I gave my perspective. I said, Italians have their own look of Santa, African Americans, Caucasians, Asians, whatever. And so I wrote a book about that whole day in our school.
It's wonderful. Santa Claus can be anything we want him to be.
Anything.
And
That's
that's
right.
the most important thing is he's jolly and he's happy and he brings a lot of cheer, right? And brings joys. In between everything, of course, you are doing your own singing and
Right.
bringing out all of this wonderful music. And you'd already done one trip to Europe, right? And then this was on the second trip.
I had been to Europe 3 times.
Wow.
This was actually, so I actually combined like 2 of the trips into this book.
That's wonderful. And you sing gospel, and of course we have Kevin singing gospel and bringing a lot of joy to people's lives. Tell us about this trip that you took to Italy and just explain how you did it yourself and then how you managed to put it in a book for Kevin.
Okay. I want to say maybe a year before we went, this group was going, they were going over to Italy for the gospel tour. And over in Italy, around December, they bring a lot of gospel artists over because they have gospel music the whole month of December. All right. So I was asked to come and audition for a tenor part. And so I went. And so I went to the audition And but after the audition, I went to a couple of rehearsals, and but they, I think I don't either they cancel on this end or maybe Italy or something to do with the money or something. So we didn't go. We didn't do the tour. All right. So then the next year I was contacted again, and they said, okay, this time everything is set. We're gonna go over to Italy for 18 show. In the book, it only talks about 5 locations, but we actually did 18 shows. The tour group over in Italy, they paid our for the hotels, flights. They paid us a fee for singing. We started in Rovigo, Italy, which was the home base for the touring company. And so then they bussed us out to different parts. We went to Switzerland. We flew down to Sicily, and we did all the other shows in the northern and the southern. I think we went as far as Sicily. I guess it was the farthest in Italy, but we went down towards Rome, down that area. But we did 18 shows in 18 different, and they were hour-and-a-half shows. And when I tell you, an hour and a half is laborious when you, because I was thinking it was going to be other people on the show. I knew it was an hour and a half, but I thought there would be other artists on the show, but it wasn't. We were the only act. And so we had to stand up there, we had to sing for an hour and a half of all different types of songs. But the love we received, what made me want to write the book was when we got over there, I had so many kisses. Everybody was kissing you at the end of it. They treated us like we were celebrities. If I was Michael Jackson, they'd mob you at the end.
Oh. Well,
So that was good. The food was good because you're on tour, so we didn't pay for any food. Everything was taken care of. We had our dinner, our breakfast, everything was taken care of. All we had to just go to the restaurant and eat. And so every part of it was amazing.
oh, that's wonderful. And of all the places to go touring, Italy and Sicily are my favorites. I
Oh
love
wow!
them.
I was actually it was planned this year. I had spoken with the promoter Marco over in Sicily, and so he had set me up for to come for a week. We did 3 weeks. The last trip I did was like 3 weeks, but he had set me up to come a week. But something happened with that. I think some of the singers couldn't go. Something happened with one of the singers. I think they were going out of the country, going somewhere else. And so I rescheduled, and I told him, I said, next year I want to bring a group of singers over to. I think we'll probably start in Sicily and go up north, northern Italy.
Wow, it's wonderful. Your voice is so tremendous. And it just listening to you I on this YouTube station, I don't think I'm allowed to play your music with all the
Right,
copyright stuff.
right.
But oh, I want people to just discover your voice because I know whenever I play your music on the radio, I will get emails from people saying, "Oh, what a voice. It just moved me so." It's you have this rich, lovely voice with
Well,
and you're always talking about hope and joy
right,
and doing good. And that's what I think your music is so inspiring in this world of music which means nothing, which says nothing.
right.
Your music is very special.
Wow, that's amazing. You know what? When I sometimes I feel like, do I want to sing, anymore? Maybe I just want to write, and then I get a message from
Oh, no.
you, or I hear something from you saying that. Or I've gotten people out of the blue would send me a message. When are you going to do another CD? Not CDs now, but when are you going to do another single? Or when are you going to do some more music? So I know, and your music has blessed me. I had a guy that sent me a message. He said, the way you do this song, you're holy. My church choir does it the same rendition that you do. We do the same way. We're inspired by your music. So I know I can't stop.
Oh, no, you can't. This is truly, your voice is a gift from God, and you
Right.
use it to fill hearts with joy. And
Right.
I can tell you, just on a personal side, there have been days through the pandemic years and all of the things that happened in my life,
Right.
just
Right.
listening to your voice. It's
Wow.
calming and it gives so much hope, and it's an amazing voice. So I have to
Wow.
really encourage people to, and they can find your music, your what a Spotify, all of those places.
Right. There on my website, you can go to www.kevinbedwards.com, and my music is on there. You can it's on YouTube. They can pull it up on YouTube.
And
All
they
they have
can
to put in Kevin Edwards Gospel, because I think there's another Kevin Edwards music person. But if they put in Kevin Edwards Gospel, they'll pull up, they'll see my
They'll find
music
your
on.
music, and it is
Mhm.
beautiful. So let's talk a little bit more about the actual book that you wrote, and when you sat down to write it, and now, of course, remember, I think with the first book, I said, now that you found the joy on paper, you will not be able to stop writing.
No, you were right. You were correct. I can't. And you know what? I actually have about 4 or 5 manuscripts not completed. Like I'll start and then I'll stop and then I'll start something else. And then I'm also working on a memoir. I had started doing a memoir way back when. But I was like, maybe I haven't lived long enough to have enough information. Then one day I was thinking, most people do their memoirs, they're about 60. I'm almost 60. 2 more years, I'll be 60 years old. So I think I got enough information. So I started back doing the memoir.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be great because although this is a children's book, you captured Kevin. Tell us more about the character Kevin and where he comes from and what he does.
The character, Kevin, is a singer. I started as a young age in school singing. Like the first book talks about me being bullied and I was afraid to sing in front of my peers. But I did it anyway. I did it afraid. And when I did it, it turned my whole life around. So basically, Kevin is he's growing up, he went to Hawaii, won that, he did the competition one. So now I'm in Italy on tour. I was asked to do a tour. And so I just wanted to capture, like, from start to finish, some of the things that we did, some of the things that we experienced in Italy with promotions, how the people treated us, the food, how the food was. Everything is in the book. It talks about the other characters. I have Yvonne Matthews. She was the musician that went. It talks about her. She's singing. Then Sonia Daniels, she went and talks about her. So it's just Kevin and his friends going to Italy and singing for the wonderful people in Europe.
Oh, it is a great story, and the idea that you have to try. And when Kevin at first didn't want to sing in front of people and wasn't sure of himself, and that happens to so many children, that they
Right.
and people, adults, they actually have some talent in something, whatever it is, but they're shy. They think they'll be judged, or they think they're
Right.
not good enough. But it doesn't. You don't have to be perfect,
No,
but you have to be giving, and if you give, people give back.
that's right. That's right. That's right. You have to try. You have to get out there, launch yourself out, and like I said, do it afraid. Because I tell kids now, I said, when you're afraid to do something, I said, do it anyway. It's because when I was a child, maybe 8 or 9, when I had to sing in front of adults, I would go out, but I would notice every time I would get up to sing, I would be nervous before. Like something would come over me, I'd be scared. I'd be sitting there like, oh, I got to get up in front of all these people. But as soon as I got up and they called my name, something came over me. And I didn't know. And every time I got up to sing, that something would always come over me. And I was able to get up, go to the microphone and sing and do what I needed to do. So I got confident in that whatever it was that was coming over me and allowing me to get up to do it. So then that pushes me out. I'm not afraid to go to Italy and sing in front of people because I know that something, whatever it is with me, no matter where I am.
Exactly. It's many ways it's like when I started doing the radio. I was
Mm-hmm.
really frightened. I started the radio program. It's in March. It's going to be the 10th anniversary of Joy on Paper, the radio program.
Wow.
So
Congrats.
but when I started, I was so afraid. I was so shy. I was always the person who didn't step forward. I would always work in the shadows, in organizations, in groups. I was always the one doing the work on the side, but I never took the spotlight. Then I got the idea for the radio program, and I was so consumed with the idea of trying to help authors promote their books that I said I
Mm-hmm.
was going to do it. It happened very quickly. I came out with the idea, and within a few weeks, I was on the radio. I had no experience. I didn't know any writers. I didn't know any publishers. The only writer I knew was a little old lady who wrote a casserole book. And I
Wow.
was so nervous. And I thought, if I can't find anybody else, I can have her. At least she will bring a casserole. The guys in the studio had a bet that I wouldn't last a month. Uh,
Wow.
I, and then the day came. It happened to be St. Patrick's Day. which turned out to be a very lucky day. I got into the studio. I was still frightened to death. And suddenly, out of nowhere, I started talking. And I haven't stopped talking since.
See, you stumble into your gift. You didn't know it,
No,
but that was your gift.
exactly. Since then, of course, I've talked to over 2,500 authors,
Wow.
including 12 Mystery Writer of America grandmasters. And I've even talked to the U.S. Poet Laureate.
Wow. You've been talking ever since. Wow. That's
But
amazing.
it makes me feel good that I'm helping people. And I think that's the same thing that happens to you when you're
Hmm.
singing and you look at the people. Your voice comes out of you like magic almost. I'm sure as people are listening to you, they're sitting up a little straighter. They start
Hmm.
smiling, their
Right.
eyes start sparkling, and they're
Right.
saying, well,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It makes me feel good that God chose me. And you know what? Recently, I asked my mom because in the memoir, I was trying to get information from my mother. I said, "How did you know that I was going to be a singer? Or did you ever think?" Because my mom doesn't. My dad used to sing a little bit, but he never did anything out. And she said to me, she says, "When you were in my womb, I used to talk to you, and I used to say, talk to God, and I would say, I want Kevin to be able, because I'm the first child." And she said, I used to talk to God and say, God, I want my son to be able to sing. And lo and behold, I came out singing. So I guess mothers need to talk because you can read to your children while they're in the womb. So maybe you can talk to them and God hears it.
exactly. I think all women who are having a baby, they should play your music, and that will
Right,
inspire the kids.
right, right. That inspired some singers.
What I do in working with authors and trying to promote books, it's so important that people read. And for children, they have to start reading. So I hope you also get a chance to meet children.
I just was in Florida back in November. Actually, the school where I went to elementary school. One of the teachers, she has been teaching like almost 40 years, or I think she's getting ready to retire. And so she wanted me to come and read my new book to her students. And so I went, and the kids bought books. And so, yeah, so I got some other things planned this weekend. I go to Florida to my mom's, and my family lives in Florida. And so I'm going to be home for the holiday. So I'll be in Lynn Haven, Florida, doing a book signing on Sunday. Sunday. And I sing Sunday morning for my classmate at his church. So I got two events on that Sunday.
At the end of these interviews I do on YouTube, I have a message to people to buy books for kids and send them
Right,
to your local hospital or to Shriners or to St. Jude's. So
right,
anybody who wants to do something really great, just order a book. You can order from Kevin's website or you can order it
mhm,
online and
right,
just send it to a local, buy 5 of them and send them to a local hospital so that they can
right.
distribute to the kids because kids in hospital need books.
Yeah, you encouraged me because actually you said that the first time we interviewed, and when I got off the interview with you, I was like, okay, where can I send my books? There's a children's hospital here in Atlanta. I reached out to an email, and they gave me the info, and that was during the pandemic. So I couldn't go in and read the book. I sent a message on Facebook and I asked anybody who wanted to donate a book. I didn't charge them the full price. I charged what I would pay, to get the book. And I got 92 books. And I
Oh,
took 92 books to the hospital here in Atlanta.
fantastic.
And that back in 2022.
Kids are in the hospital. They have so
Right,
much time, and whatever joy that they get from reading is
right.
very precious.
So now you inspire me again. I think I need to do that again.
Yeah, you have to do that again.
Another author that I'm friends with on Facebook, I saw that she had gone to the same hospital and she was able to go in and read to
Yeah.
the children that are in the hospital. So I'm going to contact them. They might allow me to come and sing. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Children and especially older people that's in nursing homes, they don't see anybody either. Sometimes their family members don't even come to see them. But someone to go in and sing, that will give them hope.
Now, did you always like to read when you were young, or where did?
Oh yeah. Now I didn't know about the writing part, but I like to read. I remember my favorite story when I was a child was Charlotte's Web. I love Charlotte's Web. I could read that over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. I love that book. But now, in terms of the writing part, I did because I didn't really think I was a good writer. I didn't really learn how in school we wrote, but when I got to college is when I really learned how to write. Because I remember I was confused about different types of writing, the different styles of writing papers and all that. And I remember I got to Troy University and my English 101, I think it's 1101 instructor, he sat down with me and he took me right through. He said, "This is what you do. This is how you do it. This is how you set it up." Da, da, da. And I was like, "Oh, that's it." And so from that point, I fell in love with writing when I was in college. But yeah, but I read, like I have books here now. I love autobiographies now. I love memoirs. I love hearing people's stories. I like to know like what they've experienced. Because I remember when I was over in Europe, I had this gospel singer, Richard Smallwood. A lot of his songs are very well known in the gospel world and everywhere. And I had his memoir, and I was reading it when we were riding, going to different places in Italy. And he was out. He was over in Italy at one point, and I read his story as I was riding. So that's the kind of books now that I like people's life stories and what they had to deal with and how they made it and how did they succeed and all that. That's what I love.
I'm sure that your memoir will also be inspirational because you've gone through a lot, you've learned a
Oh yes,
lot,
yes,
and
yes,
I'm
I have.
sure it's not a boring life. That's for
Oh
sure.
no, I think every chapter has something you're like, oh wow, and okay.
I'm
Everything has happened in my life. Everything. I've almost been killed. I was in school in Jacksonville, and I thought about that when I was writing. I went to college one semester down in Jacksonville after I came back from Los Angeles, California. I lived out there with my uncle, and I moved back home. And then my mom said, and my father said, you got to get a job or you need to go back to school. And so I decided to go to Edward Waters College in Jacksonville. And I never forget, I got there about a couple of weeks after I started, and I was walking home, and this guy walks up to me and demands everything that I had. And I at that time I was one of those kind of flashy kind of. I had a Longines watch that was worth
oh
about $650. Okay, I had herringbone. That's because that was back in the '80s. Gold, and he took all of that. He took my wallet. He did everything, and he had a gun. He pulled a gun on me, and so I even told about good stuff that has happened and the times that I was almost dead, but God had mercy and He spared my life. So every chapter got some good stuff in it.
oh, I'm looking forward to reading that. Now, of course, these books, this series of Kevin books, they're picture books. But are you planning to go into the next sort of the fifth grade level where you have
Oh yeah,
more? Yeah.
I have actually one of my books is called Jamal's Social Journey. Basically, it's probably on the sixth, seventh grade middle school level. Basically, for a long time, I didn't know I suffered with social anxiety from being bullied as a child, being traumatized as a child. When I got older, I noticed I can do things and I can go and sing in front of people. None of that scares me because that's something comes over me and it helps me do it. But I realized I had social anxiety. And so I started reading up about it. And so I wrote a whole book I got a whole chapter book about social anxiety and how someone, and then I have a cousin who's actually a psychiatrist here in Atlanta. And so I reached out to her and I asked her, would she mind being like the character, the psychiatrist in the book? And what I'm gonna do once I finish with it, and I'm almost at the end of it. Once I finish, I'm gonna send it to her so she can tell me, okay, this is what I would do if a client came in who had social anxiety. This is what I would do to treat them. So I can add all of that in the book, my perspective and her perspective, to help how a mother would help her child, how a father would help her child, how the teacher could notice that a child who has social anxiety, that they all could help in that situation. So yes, I'm moving on to that. And like I said, and with the memoir, that's of course adults.
Uh, that's wonderful because I get so sad when I read about children in school who cannot read. There are
Right.
too many kids who are not reading up to grade level. There are even graduating kids from high school who can barely read. And that's sad. And that's why if you write books that engage children so they want to read and they want to read more, that is something that is a really blessed thing to do.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I know all of that because I used to work in the school system, and I saw kids that could not read, and like you said, they would get to the high school level, and they still their reading level was like an elementary school student. But one thing when I was in Marietta City, most of the kids we had different programs that would help kids. We would go in because I worked with first grade, so phonemic awareness, and we did phonemic awareness, and we did phonics, and we had groups every morning. We taught them those first graders how to the sounds and
Oh, that's
everything, and when you knew it, they were like reading. Because I remember this one little kid when he came in, I could tell that he was embarrassed that I think he had been to like a private school and they didn't teach him correctly what he needed to learn in the kindergarten. So when he got to us in first grade, he was embarrassed because everybody else was like a little ahead of him. But he was in my group but we rotated with me and then another teacher in the room. And in not too long, I want to say a couple of months, after he figured out what he needed to do, he was reading well. And then he was one of the top students. Now he's at he's left the regular elementary school. He's like at a school for all the kids who are like on a higher level.
and the key to reading is phonics, and it is
Right,
so sad that they took it out of the curriculum because if
right.
you learn phonics, you can read anything.
You can read anything. Right.
Exactly. You can even read Italian menus. So tell me, what was your favorite food that you had in Italy?
I like caprese salad. I love that. That's a salad. But you know what? This is the thing with an Italian. They make you eat a 5 course meal. And like when you get the pasta, you're full. But then you had to do the main course.
I know. Isn't it funny?
We went to, I never forget when we first got there, the tour manager, John G. His name was Gianluca Milani was his name, or is his name. And so he took us to his house because we needed somewhere to go to rehearse. And he had a whole full studio at his house. And so he took us to his house and his wife prepared a meal for us. She made the best pasta that I have. Okay, when we finished the pasta, and then they brought out the entree. I'm like, we can't. The pasta and the salad was no. But everything, and another thing about Italy, the food is all organic, organically grown. So we didn't gain any weight because it was
Ex-
another group that was nothing. You don't gain a pound,
I
nothing.
know.
And I ate everything.
I know. I lived in Europe many years, and it is absolutely true. When you live in
Right.
Europe, you're eating bread with
Yes.
real butter, you're eating
Yes.
pasta. If you go
Yes.
to Germany, you're eating potatoes. Oh, all the potato dishes they have. And
Right.
in in France, you're eating all the patisserie and you don't gain weight. You just
Gain,
don't gain
I
weight.
didn't. Not a pound. At first, I was a little leery because, like you said, we were eating all that stuff. Because as soon as you get up in the morning, we had breakfast. And we had pancetta. We had breads, all types of breads, all types of croissants. I think it's called cornetto or cornetto. I think that's like a croissant with stuffed with some type of
Yeah,
filling and all that. All right, so we had all that stuff in the morning, hams and cheeses and all kind of stuff in the
I
morning.
know.
And so another group that had been going for years, they said, "Listen, eat anything you want over here, because you will not gain any weight." And we did. And seafood every night. We had the best of anything that you wanted: filet mignons, seafood, whatever. We had it. And I came back and I didn't gain a pound. As soon as I got back and I started breathing American air, I think I gained 5 pounds.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true. It you absolutely the minute then I never had a weight problem when I lived in Europe. I lived there a long time. I bought a little cottage in England and I lived there and traveled, spent all my time on the continent going to restaurants. That's what you
Right.
do. Never gained a pound, never. And then the
Never.
minute you I came to America
Right.
and it didn't
Gain the
click
weight.
on me why. Now I understand. It's really something they have to take care of because this is crazy. This is really crazy.
Yeah. This we were in London back in February. My family, we took my mom. My mom just turned 79. So on her birthday, she was in Paris. We started off in Amsterdam. We left Amsterdam, we went to Bruges, we went to Holland, we went to Brussels, and we left Brussels and we went to Paris. She was in Paris on her birthday. And then last stop was in London. And I was able to take my book. So what I did, I don't know why I didn't think about the other places, because the other places, their next language is English. But I knew London was English. So I contacted the public library near the hotel, the Hilton Hotel that we were staying, and it was like in walking distance. And so they wanted all my books, so I took my books there and I left them at the public library. I donated them to the public library.
Ah, that's cool. That's cool. It is really wonderful. I'm so glad that you had this wonderful experience
Mm.
of traveling and sharing your joy in both with your voice and with your books. And I think I'm so really honored to know you through all these years. And I'm
Yes,
looking forward to your next books. Whenever you have something released, you have to come back here.
I
And
will.
just one more time, let's just mention this is your website, kevinbedwards.com, right?
Correct.
And
Yes.
people can go there and they can find out more about you. And there are links there to Kevin's books, there are links to
Hmm.
his music, and you can also listen to his music right there on the website. Kevin, it's just wonderful. I'm just so happy that I get to see you now.
Yes.
Done the radio, but now it's nice to see your smiley face. I knew
Yes.
it's funny. Even I think the very first, like within a minute of you being on my radio program the first time, and I didn't
Hmm.
know you yet. I didn't know much about you, and all I
Right.
said to myself, "Oh, he's smiling. He's smiling." I could feel like exactly. And I'm not shy anymore. I can talk.
No, you're not.
So again, Kevin, I'm just really thrilled that you were able to join me, and you'll be back soon because you're going to keep writing, and that's
Yes.
the joy on paper that I always talk about, right?
Yes, I'll be back.
Okay, that's a promise, everybody. Thank you again, Kevin B. Edwards. You are fantastic, just wonderful, and your books are great. And everybody get this new one. Oh, I think it's so much fun that Kevin had a European tour. Thank you again, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye now.
Bye bye.
It was so much fun to talk to Kevin about his books, and I hope that you will get them. And as I said, please buy for yourself, for your family, and send some to a local children's hospital or to St. Jude's or Shriners. And This Is How My Santa Looks is wonderful. I hope that you'll get this book. And of course, if you will also get his other books and his new one, Kevin on his European trip. Oh, wow, that's going to be a fun read. And again, thank you so much for joining me today on Joy on Paper Live. Please subscribe. Just click that subscribe button and also share and comment because authors really need comments. They love to get comments. So just subscribe, click the button, and make a comment. Thank you for joining me today, and make sure that you get Kevin's book. Thanks. Bye bye now.